We suffer more from imagination than from reality. The 21st century has been dubbed the age of anxiety, the United States of stress, the world of worry. The message is clear. What we are facing, pandemics, terrorism, political and economic upheaval, existential dread, and let's stop there, is unprecedented, unparalleled, without precedent. Everywhere you turn, news headlines, tweets, email sign-offs, you hear the same refrain. The world has never seen anything like this. Hope you're well during these uncertain times. Leaders facing historic challenges. There's no roadmap for this. Here's the truth. None of this is new. And there is a roadmap, one that has been tested and proven since the 3rd century BCE, Stoicism. Zeno turned to it after losing everything in a shipwreck. Marcus Aurelius relied on it while ruling an empire battered by war, famine, and a deadly plague. Seneca used it to endure exile twice and natural disasters. Epictetus drew strength from it through 30 years of slavery. George Washington turned to it during the bleakest days of the American Revolution. James Stockdale clung to it to survive 7 years of torture and isolation as a prisoner of war. Toussaint Louverture wielded it to defy Napoleon and lead the Haitian Revolution. What is anxiety? What I advise you to do is not to be unhappy before the crisis comes. Some things torment us more than they ought. Some torment us before they ought. And some torment us when they ought not to torment us at all. We are in the habit of exaggerating, imagining, or anticipating sorrow. Seneca. Anxiety is often described as a feeling, an experience, or a state of persistent worry, nervousness, or unease. In the US alone, though, 65 million people struggle with some form of stress or anxiety, with generalized anxiety disorder being among the most commonly reported. We recognize that we're anxious, yet we can't always pinpoint the exact cause. The pandemic revealed something interesting. Many of the daily stressors we blamed for our anxiety, rushing through airport security, sitting in traffic, navigating crowded grocery stores, suddenly disappeared. And yet, for most of us, our anxiety didn't. Why? Because anxiety doesn't come from external circumstances. What causes anxiety? What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about these things. That sinking feeling in your stomach, the one that knots your gut and makes it hard to breathe, isn't physical, yet it's not entirely mental either. It feels real. But stop for a moment. Take a breath. Where is it actually coming from? No one is physically tying your stomach in knots. You are doing this to yourself. The Stoics understood this well. Today I escaped from anxiety. Marcus Aurelius writes in Meditations. Or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. He wrote this in the middle of a plague. We tell ourselves that stress and anxiety come from external pressures, our demanding boss, looming deadlines, overwhelming obligations. But when those pressures ease, anxiety remains. And then comes the realization, oh no, it was me. I'm the common denominator. Anxiety originates from within. We are its creators. And that means, as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, we have the power to discard it, to let it go, to cure ourselves. 9 Stoic remedies for anxiety. There's no doubt that Marcus Aurelius had plenty to worry about. Plagues, wars, natural disasters, financial crises, unreliable colleagues, personal doubts, existential dread, health struggles, and the devastating loss of 5 children. His life was filled with hardship, uncertainty, and anxiety. And yet, if his reign had been smooth and uneventful, we probably wouldn't be discussing him 2,000 years later. The historian Cassius Dio admired Marcus not because he was free from adversity, but because he persevered through it. Marcus Aurelius did not meet with the good fortune that he deserved, for he was not strong in body and was involved in a multitude of troubles throughout practically his entire reign. But for my part, I admire him all the more, for this very reason, that amid unusual and extraordinary difficulties, he both survived himself and preserved the empire. So how did he do it? How did he carry the weight of an empire while enduring endless challenges and anxieties? Through Stoicism. Marcus leaned on the lessons of the great Stoics before him: Zeno, Epictetus, Musonius Rufus, Seneca, applying their wisdom to master his fears and remain steady in the storm. Here are 9 Stoic remedies for anxiety that he used, and that you can use too. Name your monster. Always define whatever it is we perceive, to trace its outline so we can see what it really is, its substance, stripped bare, as a whole, unmodified, and to call it by its name, the thing itself and its components, to which it will eventually return. Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius understood that anxiety is a creation of our own minds, monsters we build and then fear. He urged himself to see things as they really were, to strip away illusions. When he felt burdened by the immense weight of his responsibilities, he would remind himself that royal purple robe, just sheep wool dyed with shellfish blood, that expensive dinner, a dead fish, that fine aged wine, nothing more than fermented grape juice. He called it stripping away the legend, ripping the mask off the monster. Anxiety is overwhelming because it feels ambiguous, shapeless. It immobilizes us with doubt, uncertainty, fear, and pressure. We don't always know where it's coming from, so how long it will last, or what to do about it. The first step? Name it. Neuroscientist Matthew D. Lieberman conducted an fMRI study at UCLA, proving that naming an emotion calms the brain's emotional center. When participants labeled a strong emotion, their brain activity shifted. Less activation in the emotional response center, more in the area responsible for vigilance and cognitive control. Lieberman explains, in the same way you hit the brake when you're driving, when you see a yellow light, when you put feelings into words, you seem to be hitting the brakes on your emotional responses. This is ancient wisdom. Putting our feelings into words helps us heal better. If a friend is sad and we can get them to talk about it, that probably will make them feel better. Ancient wisdom indeed. Seneca warned that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Marcus Aurelius urged himself to strip away the legends surrounding his fears. Left unchecked, negative thoughts grow into wild, uncaged beasts, agitating your emotions, feeding your anxieties, and clouding your mind. They become an unbeatable enemy unless you confront them, write them down, name them, tame them, and lock the gates behind them. Focus on the present moment. Don't let your reflection on the whole sweep of life crush you. Don't fill your mind with all the bad things that might still happen. Stay focused on the present situation. Marcus Aurelius. We all feel it. The pull to do more, be more, go further. The nagging worry that we're in the wrong place, making the wrong choices. The thought that somewhere else, somewhere better, is where we should be. This restless feeling doesn't just create anxiety. It breeds guilt, envy, fear, and insecurity. In short, misery. The opposite of contentment, gratitude, and presence. Marcus Aurelius understood this well. It's why he referenced the present moment more than 20 times in Meditations. Again and again, he reminded himself, don't dwell on the past. Don't stress about the future. Embrace what is right in front of you. Be here, now. And yet, this is a lesson we seem to forget. Constantly, our cultural restlessness robs us of the beauty in front of us. We skim life, half present, our minds hijacked by worry, distraction, and the device in our pocket. And then we wonder why time flies, why we make mistakes, why we never feel like we're enough. Stop. Do what you're doing. Fully. Whether it's washing dishes, sitting in traffic, or writing your thesis, be where you are. Completely. Whether it's with your kids, in a career transition, or at a doctor's office. This moment, right now, is all there is. Be here, and be here well. Put your impressions to the test. First off, don't let the force of the impression carry you away. Say to it, hold up a bit, and let me see who you are and where you are from. Let me put you to the test. Epictetus. Every moment, thoughts flood your mind about what's happening, about other people, about yourself, about what you see, hear, and feel. So what should you do with them? According to Stoicism, the one thing you should not is act on them immediately. Epictetus warned against being swept away by our first impressions. Instead, he advised stopping, pausing for a beat, and testing them, or, as Dr. William Stickstrud put it, on the Daily Stoic podcast, we must develop the discipline to ask ourselves, is this true? This is what Epictetus called putting your impressions to the test. The human mind is incredibly fast. It categorizes, judges, and reacts in an instant. But this speed comes at a cost. It distorts reality. What we think is happening and what's actually happening are often two very different things. That's why we must slow down, interrogate every impression, challenge every assumption, confirm what's real before you react. Because more often than not, our first impressions are wrong. We're not actually angry. We're just hungry. We haven't actually been wronged. It just looks that way. This situation isn't necessarily bad. We could just as easily find what's good in it. Or maybe, and this is often the best option, we don't need to think anything at all. We can simply let go. Assess your wants. When I see an anxious person, I ask myself, what do they want? For if a person wasn't wanting something outside of their own control, why would they be stricken by anxiety? Epictetus, the anxious father, consumed with worry for his children. What does he want? A world that is always safe. The frenzied traveler, checking the time every few seconds. What does she want? For the weather to hold and traffic to part so she can make her flight. The nervous investor, glued to the stock ticker. What does he want? For the market to turn around and his investment to pay off. What do all these scenarios have in common? Each is a case of wanting something outside of one's control. Epictetus was right. Anxiety is the product of misplaced desires. The more we cling to things we can't command, the more we suffer. We pace, we stress, we stare at clocks, screens, skies, as if anxiety itself were a currency we could trade for certainty. But it's not. So today, when you feel anxiety creeping in, ask yourself, what am I wanting right now? Is it something I control? Is my anxiety helping me or just hurting me? Because if it's not in your control, it was never yours to worry about in the first place. Do less. We will benefit from that helpful precept of Democritus, showing us that tranquility lies in not undertaking tasks, either in public or private, that are either numerous or greater than our resources. There's a simple cure for anxiety. Marcus Aurelius laid it out plainly. If you seek tranquility, do less. And then he clarified, not nothing, less. Do only what's essential, which brings a double satisfaction, he wrote. To do less, better. Think about it. So much of what fills our days isn't necessary. We do things out of habit, out of guilt, out of obligation, out of blind ambition. We overcommit, overextend, and then wonder why we feel stressed, distracted, and unfulfilled. Of course, we feel that way. Deep down, we know some of what we're doing doesn't actually matter. But what if we cut the inessential? What if we focused only on what truly matters? What if we did less and did it better? We'd not only improve our work, our presence, our impact, we'd finally experience the tranquility Marcus was talking about. A double satisfaction. Practice negative visualization. As Seneca put it, what is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster. This is a reason for ensuring that nothing ever takes us by surprise. Sometime around 64 AD, Seneca received a letter from his friend Lucilius. Lucilius was consumed with anxiety over an ongoing lawsuit, worried, restless, desperate for reassurance. Seneca's response? Why are you borrowing unhappiness? Why make yourself miserable now, just because you might be in the future? At first, this might seem odd coming from Seneca, the philosopher behind premeditatio malorum, the practice of negative visualization. Even stranger, in the same letter, Seneca tells Lucilius, "Let us think of everything that can happen as something which will happen." Isn't that contradictory? Not at all. The purpose of premeditatio malorum isn't to create anxiety, it's to eliminate it. By consciously considering the worst-case scenario, why strip it of its power? We prepare for it, so we don't have to fear it. Instead of wasting energy hoping for a specific outcome, we accept all possibilities and move forward, ready for whatever comes. And if the worst does happen, well, then we should enjoy the present while we can. Negative visualization is not about pessimism. It's about freedom, about empowerment. It's about ensuring that no outcome, good or bad, can control us. So use it. Take a motionless moment. Marcus Aurelius. To shrug it all off and wipe it clean, every annoyance and distraction, and reach utter stillness. Child's play. Marcus Aurelius was the ruler of an empire. His life was filled with responsibilities, leading troops, passing laws, making judgments, and handling the endless pressures of leadership. And yet, he constantly wrote about stillness. Why? Because in the whirlwind of duties and anxieties, he understood the power of pausing. If you can cut free of impressions that cling to the mind, free of the future and the past, you can make yourself, as Epictetus says, a sphere rejoicing in its perfect stillness. Have you ever had a moment like that? A moment where everything slows down? Watching snow fall, sitting quietly with a book, gazing out a window with no distractions, no phone, no emails, no thoughts racing ahead to the next obligation. In those moments, you're free. Anxiety fades, clarity emerges, tranquility takes its place. Marcus said that finding these moments allows us to concentrate on living what can be lived, the present moment. Only then can we truly be at peace with ourselves. So today, take a motionless moment. No distractions, no worries about the past or future. Just stillness. You deserve it. Let go of everything but this. We all crave that quiet confidence, the feeling of knowing we're on the right path. Seneca described it as walking forward, undistracted by the countless paths that crisscross ours. But how do we get there? Marcus Aurelius gives a simple answer. Let go. Let go of caring what other people think. Let go of worrying about what they do. Let go of the endless chatter, opinions, and distractions. Focus only on what you do. Everything else, beyond your concern. We find tranquility not by controlling the uncontrollable, but by narrowing our focus, by turning inward, by looking in the mirror and fixing what's within us, instead of obsessing over what's outside of us. Stillness, as we've said, is the key to a better life. The way to achieve it: stop caring about what doesn't matter. Start caring deeply about what does. Stop and start now. Think differently about money. The founder of the universe, who assigned to us the laws of life, provided that we should live well, but not in luxury. Seneca, even in his time, Seneca was criticized for his wealth. He was one of the richest men in Rome, yet he preached Stoic virtues. His critics called him the opulent Stoic. His response: he had wealth, but he didn't need it. He wasn't attached to it, nor did he live lavishly. This is the Stoic approach to money. Be indifferent to it. Money itself isn't good or bad. It's how we relate to it that matters. True wealth is needing little, not accumulating much. Life becomes lighter when we stop chasing luxury. Marcus Aurelius told the Senate that nothing he had was truly his. It all belonged to the people. That mindset is freeing. When we stop treating money as rare and all-important, we stop being anxious about it. Most wealthy people aren't wise, and most great fortunes aren't actually great. True tranquility comes when we don't need to work endlessly for things we don't need. It comes when we remember that happiness requires very little. At the core of Stoicism is a simple truth: peace comes from within, not from external circumstances. Anxiety, fear, and stress are not caused by the world, but by how we choose to perceive it. By naming our worries, focusing on the present, testing our impressions, assessing our desires, doing less, practicing negative visualization, embracing stillness, letting go, and thinking differently about money, we can free ourselves from the mental chains that hold us back. Now, ask yourself, which of these Stoic practices will you apply today? If this resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more wisdom. Like this post to spread the message. And let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Remember, tranquility isn't found. It's built. Start building yours now.